They've been moving furniture around on the Orbital this week and shoving us into a tiny cupboard. Something about builders coming to take a look at our potential or some such. And apparently the radio crew will be much able to be better at showing our contribution to Hutton life if we're in this tiny, tiny room. And funny thing, the silly beggars have forgotten to put a handle on the inside. It means that we're just a teeny bit more squashed than usual. And although you can't hear him, Deadmeat has been offering to let everyone sit on his lap. But apparently he only wanted a time for some reason. We'll do our best to broadcast up to our usual standard, but I suppose the fact we've already started the show means we've exceeded that already. Oh, a light is illuminated, showing that we're ready to start. But the close quarters means that the bulb is actually singeing Amelia's hair. Mind you, if she will sit on the desk, what does she expect? Banter breathes in as far as he's able and gives us our cue to start.
Our lights are live.
Good evening, everyone, from what we're calling Studio 5C in an attempt to maintain some semblance of professionalism. But I'm afraid the smell of bleach and the sight of various mops rather give the game away. Still, we're not downhearted. Probably because we really haven't noticed just how bad it is. But we'll soldier on.
Ooh, yes, soldiers! I like to dip them in my eggs.
You know that can be taken two ways, don't you?
As can I. No, sorry, not going there this early in the evening. Juan Kerr, what do you like for breakfast?
I am, as you know, very fond of a bit of crumpet first thing in the morning, especially if it's all dripping with butter.
Ooh, dripping.
Tea break over. Back on your heads, it's headlines time.
The Pilots Federation have got the painters in, and the builders.
It's all about social engineering.
Speeding is punishable by death.
Gunfight at the So-So Corral.
Have you been involved in a promotion that wasn't your fault?
The greatest little engineer in Colonia. Oi, wake up!
It's seamless.
Seamless. It's tummy tickling time as tranquility transcends. Next.
Everything you ever wanted to know about the community-led events. Well, for this week at least.
It looks like we've lost a Juan Kerr.
Yeah.
The revival of changing cockpits seemed to have galvanised the Pilots Federation into action, and cross-marked with spray paint on the floor of certain cockpits have started appearing. They've started roping off parts of the concourse in various stations, and mysterious deliveries have been seen arriving at megaships. Tireless investigations by our roving reporter have revealed that these are all part of an initiative to improve the quality of life for pilots who need to spend lots of time in these environments. Firstly, by marking on the floor of your cockpit is the preparation for the extra seat we covered that here 5 weeks ago. So if you haven't started making room in the fridge for someone else's milk and laid in extra supplies of toilet paper on your own, head be it. Actually, if it is the Imperial Navy, then perhaps that should be in your own head be it. The changes inside stations, or as the Pilots Federation termed it, new social hub styles, appear to have been caused by complaints that everywhere looks the same, like being in a chain hotel bedroom. You could be in Seoul or in Colonia, and the only way to tell is to look out of the window, if you have one. The Imperials complained that their stations weren't swanky enough, and lowlifes, such as hang-around bars in out-of-the-way orbitals, complained that they weren't wanky enough. Pilots Federation to the rescue, as they've just got their discount card from Balustrades R Us, allowing them to offer you the pick of any style of handrail, just as long as it's in the first 2 sections of the catalogue, and not in the luxury range, and is a handrail. This year's station look is apparently all about the pipes, as they will be making a comeback after the garish pipework of the 3200s made them so last century. As apparently industrial is what we all want when sitting at the bar. And don't think that the changes stop there. Oh no, randomly dropped crates and plant pots to stub out your fags in will be, here it comes, different colours. Presumably so you can tell what station you're in by the colour and size of the box you've just tripped over. There are employment opportunities coming for Dietrich displacement operatives, or cleaners, but only in the wealthy and high-tech systems. This is likely to start a migration to such systems from places like asteroid stations, plus industrial and agricultural systems. And you know those farmers won't wipe their boots before they come in. Without cleaners, the carpets will be ruined in no time and the whole place will smell of bio-waste. We think that this is a very short-sighted approach to cleanliness. Just you wait until there are no space truckers or agricultural workers left in these poorer systems. The Imperials will soon start complaining when the shelves start emptying, and they can't get their Apiornis eggs for breakfast, or they run out of bio-waste removal roll.
The next piece of information about changes coming to vessel interiors involves megaships. Apparently these are to be fitted with megaship social spaces, not, as we first thought, the equivalent of parks for the kiddies, where the parents can gossip and sip megagin out of tea flasks whilst their offspring leap off tall structures or dig up little presents left by a momus bog spaniel in the sandpit, but a base for on-foot services such as Vista Genomics and Pioneer Supplies. I don't know about you, but I don't hang about Pioneer Supplies looking for strangers to chat with about upgrading my suit, or where you can get the cheapest ammo. Well, not since the restraining order anyway. Still, if the Pilots Federation says social spaces, then I guess we'll end up being sociable. Note that this work is only being completed on megaships. Fleet carrier owners should not get their hopes up anytime soon, looking for a bar or even a small casino where they can win the cost of the trip in tritium from unsuspecting passengers. Megaships only. Why? Well, it's all to do with a view. You need to be protected against witch space. It's an abyss that's going to gaze into you a lot more than you're going to gaze into the abyss. Seeing that sight unprotected will affect you more than making 700 jumps on the Milano, and the resultant unbidden ejection of whatever it was you had for lunch, even if you have a friend to hold your hair back, will exceed the cleaning capacity of even floor mopping guy. The only sensible protection is to either construct your ship without windows, like fleet carriers, or use the special abyss-proof glass, known as Abysmal brand. Megaships are already abysmal. They were constructed from day one, knowing that there would be gawpers aboard, staring at the swirly lights as they move from system to system, whilst fleet carriers are much more the car transporters of the galaxy. No frills, but you get where you're going. Fitting social areas to fleet carriers will require all such vehicles to be retrofitted with abysmal glass, and so far nobody's been willing to stump up the cost. Oh, and good news for Apex passengers who have been complaining about having nothing to do on long flights. You'll soon be able to spend your trip sending the taxi to an alternative destination. That should keep you busy.
The Pilots Federation, those happy-go-lucky Santas, sorry to include a mention of anything Christmas related this early in the year, but no one but Mrs. Vantian is ready for that just yet. Anyway, those happy-go-lucky Santas who check the lists of the galaxy's inhabitants, deciding if you've been naughty or nice, and that the punishment for almost everything is not coal, but death, have been looking down from the celestial home and have realised that not everything that's happening on the ground is entirely fair. Commanders have been using their ships in an imaginative, but it could be argued, one-sided way, tipping the balance heavily in their favour when it comes to blowing shit up. Looking around for what they can use to help, the PFED, yeah, we're that close, we're allowed to use a pet name for them. The PFED uncoupled some of their guns from the toast rack of a stonking big Coriolis station and will be mounting them on the surface of various planets to act as speed cameras. They will be called GATSO, Ground Authority Turret Speed Obliterators, and they're going to be used to teach pilots that catching some flack is not something they want to fly into, unless they really miss seeing the rebuy screen. To be fair, they have painted them yellow, so nobody's going to have much sympathy if you claim they were hidden behind a bush or that the sun was in your eyes. A spokesman for the Pilots Federation said, well, they've just sent us a message to say they weren't those kinds of friends and can we please maintain formality in how we address them if we didn't want one of those new Gatsos facing Cubicle 3. Right, okay. A commander, be it the captain or some such, did hold hope that the famous panel is caught, panel is down manoeuvre can still be attempted. So if you're looking to make an aerial assault in future, we suggest that you find a friend on the ground, preferably a short one, so that they can make the approach without getting their heads spread over half the landscape.
Galactic adventurers and 3 times winners of the Laurel and Hardy Cup for accidental comedy at the Beagle Point Fringe Festival, Commanders Rampage 737 and Grand Nomage of all the Colonias Hanky have been airing their dirty linen in public. Dirty linen with a skid mark bigger than Flossy's last thrusters off landing and a fouler stink than Cubicle 3's long-term storage area. With cries of, my dad's bigger than your dad, and see that escape pod? That's your house, that is. These two duellers of words using rapiers of riposte and shields of shit-talking have been exchanging insults like a seasoned threepwood, keeping, I know you are, but what am I? Bouncing in the air back and forth for hours, neither side giving any quarter or any greater wit than na. Honour has apparently been besmirched. As they say, each by t'other. And nothing short of sending their deadly rival to the rebuy screen will suffice. They're like a modern-day Statler and Waldorf, but with a bigger stick up their arse. And these two, who really are the best of friends, have found themselves having to follow through. And for one of them, it won't be the first time. They have decided that this can only end one way. It'll be handbags at dawn, which is a bugger, since the contest will be held on Mitterrand Hollow.
Here at Hutton, we've become increasingly concerned about the underhand tactics of the underwriters for the Pilots Federation's ship insurance. For example, they've been sending messages through system chat saying that they've heard that you've been involved in an accident. These can of course be met with the reply of, how did you know? It's only just happened. There's bits of wreckage everywhere, and I think that the other pilot must be dead. Or at least he must be an owl if his head is facing in that direction. And that may buy you a small amount of self-satisfaction, if nothing else. However, this is nothing compared to the relentless bombardment of pilots when they're at their most vulnerable. Just as they've received a promotion and endorphins are coursing through the system, the Pilots Federation hit them with the news that their insurance is going up. Not exactly an incentive to pass your test, is it? Apparently, this is just an administrative error on the part of an overeager employee who did the equivalent of a reply all on a message where you're bad-mouthing your boss and forgot to select Elite Star Rich Geezers Only in the mail merge program. So for now, unless you've reached the exalted ranks of the super tax payers, you can safely ignore these messages. And for goodness sake, don't move your credits to a safe place if someone messages you to say that your account's been compromised.
Introducing a new member of the engineering team who'll be coming to Colonia quite soon, TM. Rosie Knightling. Born and raised in a starport within a northern feudalist system, Rosie had a few obvious skills in her youth. She was an average student, suffered from verbal diarrhea and found athletic competition other than Mario Kart dull. But she did have a passion for mechanical things. Fascinated by the constant stream of ships outside the window of her 2 up, 2 down, with a combination of donated, swapped and liberated from their original owner tools, she began to tinker on the gadgets in her mother's bedside table, looking to reverse engineer them to learn how the various components work. Her natural talent blossomed, and over time she started visiting her neighbour, and whilst telling their parents she was helping them with his technology, was getting inside his suits and manually handling his equipment. This became helping out friends of friends, then distant acquaintances. As Rosie approached adulthood, people from across the station would turn up at her door with things to fix. In fact, the number of people who came rapping at the door led to her family home eventually being known as the local knocking shop. And yet, she would rarely charge people credits for her time. Her enjoyment of work and tendency to trade skills led her to accept favours instead of credits. A trembling of the knees in exchange for a home-cooked meals, an overnight stay for free house cleaning. Word of Rosie's talents reached a local businessman who operated a suit supply store. An experienced hands-on merchant himself, he offered Rosie an opportunity to help out behind the curtain at his shop in return for some second-hand battery-operated devices, pharmaceuticals, furry restraints and other equipment. Rosie accepted, drawn by the chance to examine far more interesting gear than the home appliances and commercial technologies she was used to. After many happy years of this arrangement, her mentor passed away. With what little she had to bequeath was given to Rosie, along with a handwritten note asking Rosie to leave the starport and pursue her dream of a full chicken ranch. Rosie did so, announcing to her friends that she would seek employment with someone that she could call Madam. As word and penicillin spread throughout the community, a collection was held to fund this new venture. The many Rosie had helped so selflessly for so long gladly contributed. To Rosie's astonishment, it was just enough to establish her own gentlemen's club in Colonia. Rosie found her local celebrity discomforting, having felt that helping the community was a responsibility rather than something notable. Yet deep down she recognises that she could have made a comfortable living from her talents, but chose to remain true to her principles. Now she enjoys total autonomy in a new community, excited by the opportunity, while missing her friends dearly.
The Hutton space holiday season continues unabated despite the recent last bank holiday before Santa, with all systems blue across the board, experiencing a prolonged period of relative calm, except for a couple of mild isolated thunderstorms, of which you will hear shortly. The outlook is good, with a period of settled calm predicted. It's like we're all happy, lying on our backs, legs in the air, having our tummies tickled, snorting over happy thoughts and dreaming of leftovers. We have only 3 systems below 40% this week. Wolf 1481, Narenses, and no prizes for guessing this one. Anyone? Bueller? It's Barnard's Star, which again recovered briefly with a small bump after minor factions completed their squabbling earlier in the week, but it has now slid back to 30%. And this week, the latest episode in a series of wars and elections amongst the also-rans temporarily sees over 40% of the system's influence tied up. It seems that all is not well at the back of the wardrobe, where 4 of the Narnian factions are squabbling with each other in wars, both civil and not so civil, locking up 55% of the influence in a very similar situation to Barnard's Star, leaving Hutton on only 30%. Wolf 1481 completes this week's pile of laggardly systems on 37%, with yet another war between minor factions. What is it with these minor factions? PSPF-LF2 had a mild case of pirates during the week, but these were seen off after the twice daily application of some well-rubbed-in multi-cannons and anti-pirate cream. At the top end of the systems league, we have only 4 systems above 60%. There's little point in me telling you which ones, as we tire of hearing their names. Let's just say that we've never seen this much pointless, misguided excitement over a couple of insignificant LPs since the Osmonds were a thing. Meanwhile, in Colonia, the Dark Lord of Pythias himself, Darth Hankey, asked that Tucker's help Hotcold win the imminent election in Tyr and the ongoing election in Pythias, both against the Colonia Cooperative. Priorities this week are: if you want to truck something, boost Hutton influence in Barnard's Star and Narnia once the squabbling has died down a bit. Or help Hanky stuff tissue box. I mean ballot boxes. If you want to shoot something, find something yourself.
Now, coverage of events organised by fellow community members. As usual, links will be posted in the Twitch chat and also in the description of your YouTube upload. There are fewer of the 124 waypoints of the Cannon Challenge ahead of the fleet carrier Consul than there are behind it, and whilst his passengers are dawdling in the local tourist shops, Commander Mephisto popped out for a crafty snifter and to send us this update. After 5 days of refuelling tritium, the Comfy Cannon crews reached waypoint 67 to admire Ostrinum Chalice pods. Today, on the second day of jumping into the Fomorian frontier, 50,000 light years from Sol, Consul reached the next waypoint. Here, the first squad mollusks of the cruise are featured with the rubium species. There are 4 more waypoints in the vicinity, then the cruise will head to the far northern arm of the Milky Way. The SWS High Summer Slamdown 3307 expedition continues until September the 5th, so still time to join the long-range, high-gravity body landing tour. Commander Richard Flurianiz M has sent us this update. We are in our last week of our expedition and we just went through the Mighty, the Leatherbreaker and Colonia, with most of the people in the expedition doing the card challenges. However, the problem of the mysterious disappearing planets persisted and we had to remake the route. After our brave scouts found some replacements, we discovered that some of these systems were in fact barely discovered and without recognition. A lot of entries for Galactic Mapping Project and a lot of gravity mechanics were tested, and hopefully we can get to determine who is the greatest slammer of all. FGS Glorious Wall surveys the Monkey Head Nebula concluded successfully after exploring in and around nebulas such as Monkey Head. Commander Wiener Warlock sends us this farewell from the expedition. After 2 weeks, plus 20,000 bodies scanned, plus 5,000 probes sent off to their end, and 1,000 bodies successfully mapped, the crew only lost a reported 5 commanders, 2 of those to gravity. The chat and screenshot thread were full of interesting shots and gorgeous vistas, some clever problem solving, and overall a good sense that we set out to leave footprints on planets that no one has seen before. The Wild Wild West expedition departed from Colonia on the 28th of August, and Commander Analog Kid has left this note pinned to our door. Having called forth a brace of carriers from Lave, the birthplace of elite, the Wild West expedition beckons us towards the thriving hub of Colonia, where commanders converge to undertake an intrepid voyage into the black, not only the black of space itself, but the sable unknown. Our first stop, Spyhay XEX D2-9, the planet of death, in orbit of a neutron star, and then onwards. We brave the depths, our quest lies westward. If you've got free time on Saturday at 2000 UK time, that's 1900 UTC, then you could do worse than attend the snappily entitled En soirée avec Rampage pour des Pew. Let's hope Rampage is better at organising than he is at French, and the cunning linguist says, if you fancy a little pew in Odyssey, I'm running a ground combat event this Saturday. We will all team up and pick the same side for the same pew. Daka. PWP fun. Location to be confirmed, but it's in the bubble and close to Hutton space. We will be using the Hutton TeamSpeak. And that's it, this week's roundup of community-led events. If you want yours to be featured, just email itookpart@huttonorbital.com and we'll get in touch.
And that was the news. Stay tuned for brand new Galnet News Digest, Flossy's roundup of the CG News, Hutton Sports Report, and of course this week's Act of Courage and Daring as Amelia tackles one of the galaxy's most rare and dangerous items, so you don't have to. But first... And we made it through the news all in, well, not one piece, but we made it through the news anyway. Oh, was there how many pieces in? Yes.
Seamless.
Yeah. I don't know what that is, but it wasn't on the
which
floor
was even
when
more
we started.
seamless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, including a chicks disappearing out the room and coming back in again, and nobody noticed. It was in the middle of a sentence and nobody noticed. No.
At least he started leaving the room when he breaks one now.
Well, no, that depends which way he's facing.
Yeah.
It's propelled. Go on, Frontier livestream. Let us talk about the Frontier livestream on Tuesday.
Right.
Go on.
I never saw it. So anything anybody can provide will be
I didn't see
interesting
it.
for me.
So, last week was Super Cruise News. Remember, they go bi-weekly now. Stop moving the script around. So this week was Dev Update 3, which was largely about Update 7, which they talked about Super Cruise News last week. Update 7, Flossy will be pleased to hear, focuses most on conflict zones. Flossy?
Yeah,
Bit
wonderful.
of a shotgun to the face aficionado now. No. Anyway, well, Update 7 lands at some point. They may have told us, but it's some point in September. And it was hosted by Zach and Arf, which is that the Frontier version of mac and cheese? Anyway, already mentioned in the news, we have nice, bright yellow defense turrets, the Gatso turrets. So there's a video doing the rounds on social channels, which Arf narrates. They look pretty tasty.
They look pretty efficient, don't they?
I think do.
Yeah.
So I think the thing is you like hold off. You send in your ground troops and try and disable on the ground with you get your old art cutter out your Maverick suit and
panel cut, panel down, all that. And I think that makes a lot of sense because it's too easy just bring in a big ship, blow everything up, and then just walk in and take. Well, I think yes, as one certainly lady would say, just let's just nuke the site from orbit to be sure.
It's one of those things as well. You kind of think you now really want to get those turrets down before you bring a ship in there. You know, it's not like before when you go, I'll just use the ship to take out the that
Yeah.
the air
Dump
defense
fires.
turrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire
Now
up a
you'd
couple of
really
racks of
want
dump
to get
fires.
them taken down before you take a ship anywhere
Yeah.
near
I suppose,
that conflict
or
zone.
combinations thereof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be good. It'd be good now if you want to come in with a ship. You want to send a stealth team in first. So, you can either be the pilot or you can be one of the stealth team, or
All good for PWP, the Hutton way.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
It was funny. Arf was commenting on one of the versions of This Is Soul was basically they tweaked these things up to the max, so absolutely nothing got through and just annihilated everything. They went, I think we better turn that one down a little bit. But apparently it's playable. And then there's lots of other sort of stuff coming with Update 7 as well. You remember the issue tracker? One of the things on there was about lighting and cosmetics and terrain textures, and so they've deemed that a lot of some of it is valid, and some of it is a little bit subjective. It's too pink, it's too grey, it's too light, too dark, whatever. It's some of it's personal preference. So what they've done is they've closed those items on their issue tracker, so it frees up people's votes, so they can vote on more specific aspects of those general items.
Yeah, I felt from what they were saying that stuff was just getting lost, wasn't it? Because it is when you get a conversation going on too long.
Yeah.
But that point 57 days ago that you were talking about, no, it's not possible.
Yeah. And some of them were quite sort of generic comments that people had then, quite legitimately, had then gone off to support. But then they'd done the thing. But because as we know, you can only please some of the people some of the time. They said, right, this one's closed, and if you've got a specific point to make your specific point with your vote and see if people will support it. So there's some, I think there's some performance optimizations in 7 as well. But Arf did say that people will notice more performance optimizations coming in Update 8. The drop for that is TBC, so it's maybe monthly, maybe not monthly, we don't know. Apex redirects, which we covered earlier on in the news.
I think it's interesting because I think it's a sort of, they're closing this issue off, so people saying they haven't got anything to do. Well, I think that's up to you. If you're driving out to Hutton, you've got nothing to do during that time.
Well, what else do you do in a taxi? Usually,
sit and look at your phone. But
look at your phone, look out the window, be drunk, because that's probably why you got a taxi.
But at least with the redirection, at least you're not at a position where you've made the wrong decision. Then you've got to sit there and wait for an hour and a half to get up to Hutton, then get out and go back again.
This is probably a daft question, but why don't you just fly your ship there?
Yes. Well, yes.
By the
You wouldn't be
silence,
bored.
it's not a daft question.
Yeah, you wouldn't be bored. Fly your ship there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've started using the taxis.
Yeah, I haven't used them since
When I had no ship to fly myself. So I've got my own ship to stop flying.
Was it because you kept getting stuck on the Apex desk? Remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you wait till they invent space breathalyzers, then you'll want a taxi.
So the interiors. Do you remember when station interiors, like the cargo bay interiors, had a revamp? God, I can't remember when that. was. Years ago. Well, they've done the same, or started to do the same with the social spaces. So I was looking at one of the agricultural stations today, and the social spaces look very green.
Okay.
Sort of like it's like AstroTurf, and
That'd be nice.
And they were saying
you're in an agriculture station.
well, exactly. It's
No, you can smell that.
Yeah. So you got rubbish on the floor. It's sheep crap.
It does make me kind of think as well that if we're now doing stuff like writing bits, fixing things like rubbish on the floor and cosmetics and things like that, have they started working on the Xbox version yet of Odyssey?
We weren't going to mention this.
If you're down to wee silly things, and I don't know if they are all wee silly things, but if you're down to wee things like cosmetics and rubbish on the floor.
Well, they're still trying to figure out, there's rubbish on the floor. They're still trying to figure out why it stays on the floor in a zero-G environment.
Electromagnetism.
It could be Velcro. We don't know. We haven't. We need monsters to
Suction.
figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Yeah.
Stickiness.
Anyway,
all of the above.
I'm just wondering when this stuff will get to be. When this stuff will get to be
Coming to the
what's
opposable
word?
thumbs.
Yeah, no, it's.
I don't know. I'm sure.
I'm trying to think of the word when this stuff gets to be prosaic enough
Yeah.
that you can then go right. Now's the time to start working on the Xbox thing now. You know, because I mean, it sounds like it's eminently playable. You know,
Yeah,
and
I
after
found
update 8, because there's meant to be a lot of optimizations in there. You know,
We can but hope, I think.
yeah.
Speaking of broken hearts, was any? We've got no Xeno hunters in here. I think. Did you know you couldn't break there was a particular type of Thargoid, and you couldn't break its heart? It was apparently indestructible. Well,
Impervious. It was a hard-hearted little bastard.
That's right. But apparently now you can. There was some bug that they fixed, and no, I don't really know what all that's about either. But I tend to don't shoot the flower people.
Yeah, don't shoot the flower people.
Even the usual sort of screenshots and stuff, stellar screenshots, that stuff, and even the ED League of Master Bakers. Got to mention the Elite Dangerous Baking Club. You're a member of that, Harry, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I am. Yes. Yeah.
They're going to mention.
I show me baps quite often.
Some bearded chap.
Saucy.
Some bearded chap in an apron. Got his. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Go.
I'm going to say, speaking of updates, anybody remember when the Hollow Me was updated to what it is right now? Because I saw Vantian in a station earlier, and these Hollow Me looked just like him. Did
it smell like
just
him?
like him. It even smelled like him.
Oh,
and when I
God.
poked him, he said, "Ow, get off."
Oh, that's realistic.
Eh.
And I do believe he's listening to the show this evening from his hotel room
In that London.
in that
that
Metropolis.
Yes, it's definitely a bit of a metropolis.
Olympus, yes.
That's a great Metropolis. So we had a half a gallon or so before the show, and
It doesn't show.
Half a gallon of
Did you fall
metropolis.
asleep on your keyboard? It was nothing to do with your internet. You just fell asleep on the keyboard, didn't you?
Just crept out. Yeah.
So would you after half a gallon of metropolis?
Yes. A trollop piss.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Is he? He's not in the chat, is he? No, he's
No, it's not. No.
Excellent.
God for that.
No.
We can talk about him now.
I've had one. I saw this in the Elite Dangerous Community group. I know a lot of people are not in there. The salt level can be quite high. There's the guy Ogilvy Moreau. I don't know the commander name. Found out that a Commander Highford, apparently, and I only have this chap's word for it, won a live stream prize to have their name used as an NPC, many back at the beginning, I think. And the NPC was apparently hunted down and killed by Black Flight operatives in 3303. So Highford's cache...
It's a bit racist.
Yeah. Highford's cache was a data log found near Colonia that pointed to Project Seraph and their attempts to human pilot a Thargoid vessel. Then the data log led from one system to another and another, including HIP 22711, on which Planet 5A has recorded first footfall.
First football.
Playing football.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a first.
0G football.
Yeah.
I want to see now.
Well, what else will you do with legs, you say? First footfall by a Commander Highford. So the first footfall on a place that Commander Highford in the game, the NPC, was actually discovered by the real Commander Highford. Oh, doppelgangers or what? Just a bit spooky. Follow up to...
Okay, you've lost me.
follow up to last
go,
week's
just-
thing.
just go with it,
Yeah,
go
so
with
it's
it.
fine. I just thought
Yeah.
just interesting. Talking of follow-ups, following through, last week the Alex Zuno, pirate hunter, is doing a joint venture to try and work out how far can you go in Super Cruise, like the fuel rats have to do if you go for a very long rescue, but trying to work out with proper empirical data, the exact longest distance you can go, how much you need, exactly everything you need, and it's really quite complex formula. If you don't like maths, it's quite complex even if you do like maths. But what they've
Did they
done
decide not to bother after all?
No, they're doing it. What they've provided, and I put this in our Facebook group, but I'll talk about it here as well. They've actually put a place, if you want to go and help them collect data on how close you get to a star when you come out, how much fuel you use, a whole load of stuff. They've got a website, which is, I'm just getting ready to paste this in.
I'm looking at it now.
Yes. It's where they want to look at star drop distances. What's the nav lock, destination lock and exclusion zone, and star exclusion zones, the distance from zone to core for specific stars. They're working the way through it. And if truckers do it, we will actually get first recognition. Alex is holding it open for a while for truckers to go and do that. So it's not the most exciting, but it's going to be quite helpful, I think. So if we actually ended up with a way of knowing we want to go this far, how many ships do we need and what exactly do we need, and we'll know we'll make it, that's actually quite a useful thing to do. So if you feel like doing that, please do, because Alex has done a lot for us in terms of sorting out the pirate menace, even though they do keep spawning. But she's put a lot of work into this. So I go and have a look at iniv.space at the very least, and have a look at also, that's where her guide to how to be the best possible anti-pirate pilot you can be is.
Right.
And now it's time for, I think we have to sing now, do we?
Oh, God.
I think we should.
Yes, okay. Ready?
On three.
Well, we better tell them why first.
Yeah, we better tell them why.
Okay.
Well, they'll know why.
Yeah, but they might not know why.
Well,
They probably don't know why.
This is slightly belated, only slightly belated.
Only a day.
Yeah, quite. Well, we would have changed the
broadcast
shape
the
of it on
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
so-
Yeah.
So old it gets lost in the rounding up, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, quite. At his age, it's not going to make much difference at all.
No.
The person to whom Alvin owes everything, and to whom from whom Alvin gives everything, as it were. No, that's not right. Anyway, a symbiosis. I'm sober. A symbiosis here between Alvin and Snoz. Oh, bollocks to it. It was Snoz's birthday yesterday.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday to
birthday.
you.
Happy
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday,
Snozwell.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And you live in a zoo.
And many more.
This one, Alvin is running around the room going, oh, shit, make it stop. So, happy birthday for yesterday, Mike.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Mike.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Another free trip round Seoul.
Mm-hmm.
Alvin signed them on for another year.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike's passed his probation.
Yeah. He's had these booster jags and his worming tablets. He's good to go for another year.
You should give them to Alvin, but whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can't stop him these days. Oh, I've got one. I've got one. Hutton Helper, week 300.
Oh, yes.
That is
Happy
nearly
birthday.
5 years of Hutton Helper.
Do we have to sing it again?
No.
No. Yeah.
For the love of everything holy, no.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hutton Helper.
It's
Happy
technically not its birthday.
birthday to you.
Oh, yeah,
And
it's
many more.
It's not divisible by 52.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's 300.
Okay, come on. It's a nice
Yeah,
round
shut
number.
your face, you.
Yes, the Hutton Helper.
You're not the boss of me.
Hutton Helper has been taking information and chewing it up for 300 weeks.
Bless.
Lovely.
Bless times two.
Yeah. And when it gets to 510, 310,
520.
300.
Okay, that's enough. All right, so we're going off the point even for us.
I think 312 is the week you're looking for.
Yeah. That'll be what,
So
6
we'll
years?
do it again in 3 months.
Okay.
If we remember.
All right, come on.
I thought I
Wait,
got away
read
with
it.
it.
Look, hang on. I'm just going to say, what comes between A&R and Aardwolf in the dictionary is 3 entries before Aaron's rod.
Is it Anaconda?
It's pangolin.
No.
Batman. Is it Batman?
No.
Robin.
Oh.
Haversack.
Amelia, put us out.
Oh,
of our misery.
Haversack.
Aardvark.
Aardvark!
Oh!
Aardvark!
Aardvark.
Aardvark!
Anyway, after that mention of a nocturnal badger-sized burrowing mammal of Africa with long ears, a tubular snout, and a long, extensible tongue,
That's
feeding
the
on
way to
ants and
talk about
termites.
chicks.
You won't catch me out 2 weeks running. It's over to the lovely Flossy to bring us up to speed with everything that's happening in the world of community goals.
It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. And the community goes.
Hello, Flossy here with this week's Community Goals News. There were no CGs last week, so nothing to report there. New CGs for 2nd of September 3307. Support Neomedical Industries Onion Head project and protect deliveries for Neomedical Industries. Neomedical Industries has requested deliveries to produce onion head gamma strain for Alliance and Independent Systems. The new variant of the popular psychedelic drug is currently sold in a handful of independent systems by the Kumo Crew Syndicate. The IHO has confirmed that the product does have many medical applications. Alwyn Kendrick, CEO of Neomedical Industries, outlined the initiative. Our goal is to gather sufficient resources for the manufacture of onion head gamma strain as a medical treatment. Target markets will include both independent and alliance systems, should enough commodities be delivered. We request that pilots transport HE suits, polymers and robotics to Crippenport in the Hethys system. Reimbursements will be arranged by our corporate partner, Hethys Purple Dynamic Group. Should Tier 1 be reached, Neomedical Industries will have enough resources to make this medically certified onion head gamma strain available at approximately 10% of independent industrial economies. At Tier 2, it will extend to 15% of independent industrial economies. At Tier 3, it will include 15% of industrial economies in alliance systems. At Tier 4, it will extend to 20% for both alliance and independent industrial economies. At Tier 5, it will extend to 25% for both alliance and independent industrial economies. Should everything go smoothly, Neomedical Industries expects to bring the onion head gamma strain to market on the 17th of September 3307. Security experts have advised that criminal elements may try to disrupt this project, therefore we are offering bounty vouchers on all wanted ships to protect these deliveries. Reimbursements will be arranged by our corporate partner, Hethys Purple Dynamic Group. To help protect Neomedical Industries initiative, hand in bounty vouchers at Crippenport in the Hethys system. As well as credits, the following rewards are on offer for both CGs. The top 75% of contributors will receive the Onion Head 1 decal. Top 50% will receive the Onion Head 2 decal. Top 25% will receive Onion Head 3 decal. And the top 10% of contributors will also receive the Cobra Mark III Onion Head skin. The campaign begins on 2nd of September 3307 and will run for 1 week. Final target is met earlier than planned. The campaign will end immediately. To earn rewards, you must sign up as an active participant before delivering HE suits, polymers and robotics, or handing in bounty vouchers to Crippen Port in the Hades system. Only bounty vouchers handed in after signing up will count towards your personal contribution total. And that's it for this week's CG News.
Flossy told you what to do.
Thank you, Flossy. And remember, folks, that if you're transporting drugs across systems, the authorities already know about the secret internal hiding places, so you'll be swallowing all those drugs in vain. Commander Beetlejude and Witherspoon are paused now in their own corner of the studio, which they've roped off and put up a sign saying VIP area, in crayon obviously, but it was drawn by Beetlejude, so the sign borrows heavily from the industrial post-war era and gives us flavours of postmodern modernism, as well as being very beautiful. Relax now as a pair that have been round more twists and turns than Wasson and Crick try to make sense of the random collection of atoms that is our galaxy in the Galnet News Digest.
Galnet News Digest, 2nd of September 3307. We read the news, so you don't have to.
In this week's news, People's Princess attends Fairfax funeral.
The Federation's first dictator.
Annoying Archon.
A whiff off the farmyard. People's Princess attends Fairfax funeral. In the aftermath of the Civil War that saw the leaders of the Marlinism Reformation Party, which was at that time the political wing of the NMLA, defeated, with moderate Octavia Volkov voted in as the new First Minister, and with the funeral of the murdered First Minister Jenna Fairfax concluded, the Marlinist colonies are seeing a resurgence of confidence, with all original colony systems back under their control, and some Marlinists ambitiously expanding into new systems. First Minister Volkov has stressed that the Marlinist colonies will create a Marlinist republic and will not attempt to change the political system of the Empire, the site of the first Marlinist republic, the historic Republic of Achinar. She said she hoped that the success of the new Marlinist republic might in due course inspire imperial citizens to walk, as she put it, the path to democracy. The Empire has recognised the diplomatic status of Marlinist Prime Consul Coyote Tau, but unlike the Federation and the Alliance, is not actively encouraging diplomatic or trade relations with these colonies of ex-imperial citizens. However, colonists were delighted and touched when Princess Aisling Duval attended the funeral of Jenna Fairfax via a holovid link. While there may be some hardliners like Torval and Petraeus who will never accept Marlinist sovereignty, progressive People's Princess Aisling seems to be offering an olive branch.
The Federation's first dictator. Federal Vice President Jerome Archer has angrily denied that President Hudson stands any chance of being labelled a dictator, in a reaction to criticism directed at the Domestic Counter-Terrorism Act by senior politicians in both the Alliance and the Empire. Senator Denton Petraeus, military right-hand man to the Emperor, declared dismissively that the arrogance and corruption of the Federation's leaders made it inevitable that citizens would turn against those leaders. The centre would rot and the whole federal systems would fall apart. The Alliance Deputy Prime Minister Angela Corcoran was only marginally more diplomatic, asserting that the people of the Federation were right to declare independence from Hudson and his cronies, given the intrusive meddling of the Proactive Detection Bureau. And she said Hudson needs to watch out if he's to avoid being labelled the Federation's first dictator. Vice President Archer described both the Empire and Alliance as reactionary, resisting inevitable change. and also hinted that their reactive approach to acts of terrorism leaves them always on the back foot, whereas the Federation's intelligence-led approach to crime is leading the way, allowing the Federal Intelligence Agency to arrest criminals before they have even committed their crime.
Annoying Archon. One of the two pharmaceutical megacorporations has undertaken to supply onion head gamma strain as a medicine. In the process, it may find itself annoying a major crime syndicate and its only comparable rival. Neomedical Industries, which was formed in December 3304 by the merger of Allied Medical Industries and Neosalve, is taking the Interstellar Health Organization's findings that gamma strain is effective against both psychological and musculoskeletal conditions at face value, declaring the impropriety of the Pirates of the Kumo crew profiting from a drug that could benefit tens of millions of patients. Neomedical plans to stockpile the drug and to distribute it to markets within the Alliance and independent systems, a much wider distribution than the Kumo crew has managed with its paltry selection of industrial anarchy outlets. The dig at the Kumo crew, which Archon Delane has been working hard to establish as a respectable power, and the competition to both the Kumo crew's monopoly on gamma strain supply and Vandermeer Corporation's established portfolio of drugs for treating the same conditions, is unlikely to make either organisation like Neomedical any better. But Neomedical may not mind that too much. By adding respectability to the gamma strain product, it stands to have something almost as profitable as the Vitadine nanomeds that are manufactured by Vandermeer. Neomedical has not yet explained whence it plans to get its stocks of this new drug.
A whiff of the farmyard. In a move designed to relieve station social areas of their homogeneity, the Pilots Federation has announced the station interiors will soon be subtly modified to reflect the economy and wealth of the system. Quite what this will mean is still partially under wraps, but some concepts have been shared, showing what these interiors might look like. Service, tourist and high-tech stations will of course benefit greatly with an opulent look, including liberal use of red carpeting, gold railings and a delightful selection of real plants. Asteroid bases will become a dusty orange and tan colour because who would want to forget that they're in a dusty orange ball of rock hurtling through space? Industrial social spaces will be steely blue with more angles and at least a bit of the Mies van der Rohe about them. Unnecessary pipework will be added for decorative purposes. Wealthy stations will at last hire some proper cleaners to pick up and recycle all those crisp packets and empty drink bottles that littering commanders seem to leave in the hangar entrance and by the lifts. It's going to be great. But of course, the pièce de résistance will be agricultural stations. These will be imbued with a genuine fake sense of place, with chickens running around the floor of Vista Genomics, Apex Interstellar offering tractor rides, Pioneer Supplies selling shotguns, the bar, which serves only industrial strength cider, hosting nights out for the young farmers. Interastral will sell old spaceships that have failed their spaceworthiness test, but which still have hundreds of light years left on the clock. In Frontline Solutions there will be haystacks and pitchforks, and the locals will be dressed in smocks and will stand around chewing grass stalks and falling silent whenever a stranger draws near. Far from cleaning up the mess, cleaners in agricultural stations will add to it, leaving piles of tyres in corners. Farmyard manure mixed with straw will be scattered discreetly just where commanders are about to step, and "Get off my land" signs will be tacked wonkily to the walls. If you accidentally order an Apex shuttle to one of these stations, you'd be well advised to tap the driver on the shoulder and ask him to take you home instead. You really don't want to see the straw effigy these farmers are building in the concourse.
And that's this week's Galnet News. And now it's time to keep your appointment with the Wicker Man.
Commander Beetlejude would like to point out that in that last scene that it was not her bottom that was on display. The arse was, in fact, played by Wotherspoon. But, and it's a big but, we now head over to someone who never has to play at being an arse. It's the apology officer with the sports report.
I like big butts in a can of... Oh, welcome to this week's Hutton Sports Report. The Hutton Sports Report is sponsored by the Hutton Helper, the only third-party resource to come with a free bus pass, in case you have to leave the Frontline Solutions battlefield in a hurry. This week we have the following events. The Where Did They Get All That Yellow Paint special. The Is That Brian the Rocket Launcher in your primary weapon slot, or are you just pleased to see me? May West Memorial. The Lasering a Cock and Balls onto the Defence Turrets Stealth Art Challenge Cup. The Get to the Apex Sprint. The I've been doing this before anyone heard of Frontline Pro-Am Tournament. And the Adders in the Hot Zone Challenge. So, no camping the spawn points, keep away from the thruster ports, and check your gravity before throwing a grenade. The classified results are... Cometborn, 100. Caramba, 46. Tronica, 14. Poltergeist, 11. Bograt, 516. LDSK, 354. Impala Mark, 100. Argontaneus, 71. Protomaniac, 244. Kuroi Kitsumi, 25. Darkness Seas 101, 3,659. Will Settler Song, 733. Queen's Park, 2. Edinburgh City, 3. Forfar Athletic, 1. Arbroath, 3. Wolf 359 Wanderers, 2. Sparta Soul, 2. Barnard Staff 2nd 11, Lord Shouty has a groin strain, 1. Ritzamino Barbarians, 2. Right, decals this week for Impala Mark, who has won a decal before but still hasn't claimed it. Please email itookpart@huttonorbital.com and arrange to collect your Hutton decal kit, which this week consists of the blood of your enemies and a blast-proof stencil. Wait, what? There are 7 Hutton runs this week by 6 commanders. I think Wonders must be offering discounts again. The most desperate, fastest of these was Commander Darkness Seas 101, who got there in 1 hour, 23 minutes and 54 seconds, which places them in 82nd place. No challenges to the record there then. Following on were Wolf Eyes, Zen Zob Krell, Chaos Kiss Kiss Reborn, and Marcus Ezekiel. Bringing up the rear, which will cost you extra if you're in Wonders, is Impala Mark again, whose slowest time was 5 hours, 9 minutes and 38 seconds, putting them in 601st place overall. I sense some reluctance to actually get to Hutton there. Think maybe they're a Cubicle 3 attendant. Are you bored? Have you had enough of tenderising the face of your enemies with the butt of your plastic space rifle? Is the bloodlust wearing off and the red mist clearing? Will you scream if you see another yellow turret? Do you have Apex on speed dial? Well then maybe you need a little break. How about going the whole hog on one of our Hutton Sports and show the pros how you do things? How, you ask? Well, here's how. Just go to hot.folderol.com and download or sign up for the Hutton Helper before hanging up your legs and getting into it. Let's face it, anything has to be better than getting unwanted before being ruthlessly gunned down and tasered until you pee yourself by local security. Well, that's it for this week. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Mayor. With a report like that, no wonder you're the apology officer. Hey, who wrote this rubbish? Mayor's great. When I find out who it was. Anyway, whilst I go and get my best backhand pan, it's time for Amelia to bring us the Galnet Rares Digest.
Good evening. This is Amelia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest. we try all the galaxy's rarest and most dangerous commodities, so you don't have to. Beer. Wherever you find humans, you will almost inevitably find beer. Whether it's mass-produced fizzy lager found at the various starports, sports bar, showing whichever zero-G ball sport is in vogue at the moment, and most probably consumed in large quantities before some bloke named Steve challenges the human edifices, most probably cybernetically enhanced, to step outside for a few rounds of something not approved by the Marquis of Queensberry. Or it's bebearded and braces-wearing new age hipsters sipping at tiny glasses of whatever craft beer has been brewed in the basement of a nearby orbital. Beer is everywhere. It may not be entirely legal everywhere. Some of the more prohibitive corners of the galaxy frown on beer for religious or health or just social well-being reasons. Or, of course, it could be, as they much prefer, their brand of posh spirits with a dash of mixer and a little umbrella. But whatever the case, legal or not, there will be someone quaffing something somewhere in the galaxy at any point in time. As with many of the commodities that Galnet have asked me to test over the years, there are common or garden varieties. Then there are the rare ones. Grassian Gueuze beer is one of these, available only at Urichkin Port and Gueuze, in orbit around Gueuze 3A. They've tuned their own variety of brewmeister and brewmistress artisanry to a high level. Their secret ingredients, the bioluminescent plankton found in the oceans below. The plankton are harvested from the seas, added to the brewing process at just the right moment, and end their lives exceedingly happy, swimming to their end in a high-gravity, potent vat of fermenting alcohol. As they pass from this world into an alcoholic afterlife, their bioluminescent bodies add to the fermentation process, and the final product is something you'll find nowhere else in the galaxy. Famed for its potency, this isn't quaffing beer that you take pride in getting as much down your front guzzling hole as possible. This is a sipping beer. It has a strong aroma, brought about by the plankton, and, of course, sits there all on its own, glowing. The chemicals that provide the bioluminescence can't be broken down by the human body. Some is absorbed by the digestive system, giving regular drinkers a healthy glow. And, of course, meaning they can easily be found in the dark. And of course, once their waste filtration systems have done their thing, the resultant byproduct, when you pop into the little pilot's room, is bright. The beer itself is delicious and moreish, meaning that after the first sip, after the first trip to the facilities, it's often followed by another one and another, as you spend an evening drinking yet more of this. Of course, these reports wouldn't be the same without the side effects. First, let's start with the scorn of your peers. Exit the washroom without having washed your hands, and the guilty telltale glow on your hands will cause your already glowing cheeks to flush crimson with embarrassment. One glance at the tub of peanuts on the end of the bar will tell you whether the great unwashed have been doing or not doing exactly that. If your nuts are glowing, we don't recommend you eat them. Ugh. And should Tharg the Mighty hyperdict you after a particularly heavy night out on the Gueuze beer, have a little accident in the trouser department and your flight suit trousers will be glowing like you've just been irradiated in an industrial accident. Then, of course, there are the hangovers. A Gueuze hangover is something you'll likely only ever want to experience once. First, your skin will be glowing. Everyone will know you feel rougher than a badger's arse. Then, of course, so will your eyeballs. Even when your eyes are tightly shut to stop the room spinning, there's no respite from the glow. There will, to quote, be a bastard behind your eyes, wearing big boots, probably with magnetic soles, and they will be stomping around the inside of your skull like a zero-G maniac mechanic around the inside of a derelict station. You'll wish you weren't there. Painkillers won't help. Nothing will help. You'll consider that being eaten by Thargoids or viciously probed by them would be a birthday party in comparison. And what's worse, you'll realize that this hangover is an inevitable 2-day hangover. Even unconscious, your dreams will have a hangover. Trust me. If you have to have a geyser, only a little geyser as an alternative is a deeply unpleasant experience. I've just realized that my hands are glowing. And judging by the collection of sample glasses on the desk next to me, I may have been a little foolish in my taste testing last night. Oh God, this is a headache. Oh, this is Amelia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest I'm off to drink as much water as I can find. Otherwise, please, someone shoot me now!
Amelia Hawke there, showing the consequences of having a little geezer inside you.
Saucy.
It's very naughty.
Yeah, that's what she was. It was a beer. Well, you're glowing, you my dear.
I love the fact that you're trying to defend yourself after saying it.
No.
Yep.
No, I don't care.
Tut.
Pardon? I beg your pardon.
Don't you touch me. But, yes, that does sound like one of those strange things that are quite dangerous because any trace is going to betray you.
Can I ask for some clarification?
Mm-hmm.
There was mention at one point of a front guzzling hole.
Yes, a front
I'm
guzzling
not aware
hole.
of it being a rear guzzling hole, or have I missed something?
It depends on the parties you go to, I guess.
Well, I
Yes,
suppose
yes.
so, yeah. There's a lot you can do with a funnel and a length of rubber hose.
You could make a musical instrument.
You could.
Clearly, you're going to the wrong parties.
Yes.
I don't go to any of them twice. I don't get invited.
Well, you say the wrong parties.
Yeah. Maybe I should have used my mouth to blow the other end of the tube. Yeah. Tuber impressions. Well, that's obviously. I think that beer is obviously something where you have to take your time. Don't overindulge, and
Everything in moderation.
And of course, it does mean, of course, if you've been to the pub and you're having to head back down a unlit country lane, you can create your own cat's eyes, as it were.
My God, where do you live? Returning from the pub, but via an unlit country lane.
There are plenty of, not where I live, but there are plenty of people I know who have that kind of issue. Well,
Yokels, clearly.
yes.
Okay. That's all right then. I do. Sorry. We should be inclusive and make sure we mention yokels from time to time as well.
Oh, I always take a lantern to the end of the drive.
That's just because you're looking for your ship to come in.
Yeah.
Oh, ship. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got a ship,
again.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Get down the rabbit hole again.
With rabbits. No.
Sailor joke in there somewhere.
Oh, that was fun, and I hope your head gets better soon, Amelia. I said I hope your head gets better soon.
Yes. Oh, I wish you had two big cymbals to smash together. Yes. Get well soon, Amelia. Happy birthday to you.
10:30.
And all's well.
So,
What clock are you reading from? I've got 9:45 here.
Oh, don't say that. He's going to stretch you out for 15 minutes now to hit the deadline.
45 minutes. 45
No.
minutes.
I've got paint this watch.
Paint to
Could
watch.
be drying in there, and I'm not there to watch it.
Do we have anything to wrap ourselves up with, as it were.
Hang
and
on,
I don't
hang
mean
on,
newspaper.
hang on.
What have you found?
Oh, I'm just getting the headphones off my ear holes.
No.
I'm still coming back from Colonia, if anyone's
getting
interested.
caught like that.
I know I'm not.
What are you doing? Walking?
I'm in a Type 6. Give me a fucking break. It's got a jump range of 58 light years, though. It's not that bad. It's just that I've been doing other things, so I've not had a lot of time. And I've
just
been
'cause I
using
get-
the chicks method.
It's just because I get so excited, you know. It gets loud.
Yes.
What other items we didn't cover this week was I saw somebody had found he was given a mission to a planet that was actually further from the star than Hutton is from Alpha
that's
Centauri.
excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's. But unfortunately, we don't know the name of it. And when I actually logged in, I logged into game to find out where it was, and there were well over.
Never.
We got most of. It's like getting half of a number plate. You know, I know it's a blue Cortina, and it begins with an A. It was something like that. So there was more than 100 places it might be. And since they were out in Cololonia, I thought I'm not going to fly out to Cololonia and hope I can go through all of these and find them. So we didn't do that. Maybe we'll cover that in a future episode.
You can always buy the system data.
Yeah, but I don't know. There was a
You
picture.
buy all of them.
Oh yes.
Yeah, there was a screenshot which had
It had
some
cut-
of the address in it.
Yes, and it was cut off, so we couldn't actually see what it was. Yeah. Oh well.
So you know the general vicinity, you just don't know which of
Yeah.
the
Which
100
are 150,
bajillion,
200, yeah.
kajillion,
Well, because it
yeah,
only tells you there's more
systems.
than 100. There could have been more than 500 for all I know.
Yeah, there could be more than a million. Yeah.
Yeah, quite. So we won't be covering that until we can narrow it down a bit further. That's too much even for us. I don't think even Draxor will go and visit all of those for us.
So we need somebody who's somewhere out by Colonia.
I'm on the other side of the galactic core.
Hang on, he's making it.
Flossy
Did
too
anybody
down there.
say apology officer?
No, but I knew what was coming. And I bet it's one of the planets that you go to, you have to be an Odyssey person to land on it.
Yeah, you may not. I
That's
don't
where
know.
Flossy
Well,
too-
lots
Well,
of
why
that.
don't you get there and
this
tell us?
friend is.
Yeah.
I might. If we can get the system address, I might just do that.
I've asked, but the person has not yet responded to any administrations where people have said, please tell us the full name.
They probably had to go for a lie down in the darkened room, that's why.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the stuff we didn't cover. Plus a whole load of other things. Right. Okay. Well, let's stretch that out for 3 more minutes. I think that's enough. I've done what I can.
It's respectable. It's respectable.
Yeah.
Is it though? Is it respectable?
Well, let's hope not. Okay.
It's not an excessively short amount of time, but is it respectable?
Not as respectable as it should be. None of this is. Well, thanks everybody for turning up. Thank you, chicks, for turning up twice in the same show.
Finish at Lone Ranger time.
Yes.
Ten,
Yeah.
10.
Don't mind me, I was phoning it in.
Yeah. Oh, that's why it explains the sound. All right, look, we've bored enough people doing that. Then I think we're just headphones, chicks, headphones.
On it.
I've got a limit on mine, so it won't do it. Okay, the dulcet tones, or the dull set tones of Amelia Hawke, who will lead us off with "Why Are We Here?"
For the man!
Ouch! Grammy is
I
back.
should have moved them further out.
For the man.
No journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading up the T-9s to the brim with grain. For the mug. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug. Now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug. Flossy always seems to crash into the sun. Swivel likes the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin at the front, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody yell. For the mug. the Hutton trucker song. Today, super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud like you don't even care. For the bug, yeah, you know just where I'm coming from. For the bug, now everybody sing the Hutton trucker song. For the bug, yeah, you know just where I'm coming from. For the bug. Sing the Hutton trucker song.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. Everybody's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger